Hi, good evening. Hi, this is Christine Crowle here, and welcome to my channel. And I just want to say happy Saturday to you all, and I hope everyone is well. And I want to also say thank you to the subscribers. It means so much to me that you're listening to these videos and you're watching, and hopefully you're learning the training that I'm giving you as well. Because I want to provide value to you so that you take action with it. So, I just want you to be able to be a part of this YouTube journey, and we can all grow together and we can all learn together, for example. But can you imagine that today that I'm talking to you about the AI revolution? It's here, isn't it? We're here. Not we're here. We're the humans, but AI is also here as well. And you can see that as a positive or a negative. And some people do feel that they're going to be left behind. And I believe that they, like Elon Musk said, that because of the technical skills that's needed to operate AI, for example, then we need to really learn how to use those skills, for example. And today's video is really about me just going through the beginning stages up to where we are today and what we can do that can really enhance our lives. So in a way that's not going to see it as a negative, but we see it as a positive. Because what can we do at the end of the day? It is here. It's already everywhere. It's in almost every industry that I can think of and that I'm seeing. I'm doing a lot of research as well. So today's video is where we're going to be diving into about the AI, the AI revolution. And I'm going to be talking to you about automation and that it is changing industries, jobs, society as a whole. You'll have to excuse me. This is live. I can't edit this out. Well, I can afterwards, but I don't want to. I'm coughing. It's normal. People do cough. So anyway, so back into the live is I'm going to be discussing the challenges. I'm going to be discussing the opportunities that we all have access to as well. And I really want you to be able to stay ahead so that you don't miss out on this, AI revolution that's happening at the moment. But I want to also talk you through what it is as well. And I know you know what it is already, but I just feel it's important to talk about from the beginning to where we are now and the future. Okay, so like I said, can you imagine, right, that some of you are feeling that AI is going to replace your jobs? And yes, you are right there. Depends what type of job you're doing, for example. So what industries are at most at risk? Join me here because I'm going to be going through this with you. So let's look at this, the way it started, because really we're the ones that's created it. Humans have created AI, not AI created us. Humans created the AI. AI didn't create itself. It didn't just suddenly, metamorphosize and transform like, how the butterfly is. It didn't do that. We created AI. Okay, so not when I say we, but the things that we've talked about. Oh, I wish that was easier. Oh, that's such hard work. I wish there was an easier way to do things. Do you understand where I'm coming from here? Because this has been the way that it's come about is from our human brain. We've always wanted things to be easier, and we've actually created AI. Okay, so I want to welcome you all today to this live stream, and this topic is like really, it's reshaping our lives right now. Let's be honest here. It is, everybody knows what AI is. Every household knows what AI is. And it is the rise of the artificial intelligence that we're looking at now, along with the automation that goes with it. So I'm not going to go too deep into that, but what does that really mean for us, the future? What does it mean? Because we are here today, and I'm here to talk about some of the challenges that it may produce for us, as well as some of the truth of what is going on. You know, maybe you've got a burning question about this as well. So I will be doing some more AI revolution, for example, because I want us to be informed and not see it as, you know, some alien creature. We created it, just like we've created these gadgets, the telephones, we've created the laptops, the computers. We have created things, we've made things, and we've created it. It didn't just evolve and appear. We created it. The humans created it, for example, because we wanted to make things easier for ourselves. And I'll start with, for example, many years ago, what used to happen is people used to make their own, they used to grow their own fruit and veg, for example. And what's happened now is that the farmers have come in, rightly so, and they provide us with our fruit and veg, for example. But the farmers, when they first started doing it, sorry, I'm just going to pour some water out. When they first started creating the fruit and veg, they had a hard time. They were out, well, they're still out at, you know, early hours of the morning, and, you know, probably get back when it's dark, for example. But think about the farmers, how they had to go through all of this and to create things that's going to be easier for them. And what we need to do is, I'm going to get my fan out because I'm a bit warm. What we need to look at is the farmers, they were struggling, right? So they made things easier for themselves, you know, like the conveyor belts, for example, to help, you know, perhaps the fruit and vegetables move quickly. You know, things that was heavy, they created like the you know, the farm trucks and things like that they have. You know, that's been created to make it easier for themselves. The equipment that has been created. There's lots of things that we can see why we're here today. And the farmers, they've created the tools that they needed to make things easier for them, and rightly so. And, you know, when we look at how things have progressed, just like with computers, well, before the computers we had we had typewriters, for example, and then it went to word processors, didn't it? And then from there it was computers. You know, the computer was created, those big massive computers that we suddenly now have in our homes, and they're now laptops. There's so many different variations of them. The mobile phone, well, remember that we used to have phones, you know, the dial phones that we used to have, you know, where you'd have to put your finger in and dial it. The numbers were on it, and then you would, you know, do it that way, whereas we've got the mobile phones now. But what else is happening is now the landlines, we're hardly using them. So now they're becoming obsolete because we've got mobile phones, and we can travel around wherever we are in the world and use our mobile phone, whereas with our home landline we can't do that. It's static, for example. We're not allowed to, we can't take it outside. So that's why we got mobile phones, because we wanted things to be easier for us. So this was created out of the need of what we actually wanted, for example, to make things easier. So someone made it, like Steve Jobs, for example, Apple, I'm just using that as an example, and made things easier for us so that we didn't have to, so things didn't take longer, for example. I can list off a whole massive list of them. It's just like with the motor industry. They had, for example, they had the heavy machinery, for example, that was doing all the heavy lifting, and it was, you know, a really good thing to have, because it was saving the staff from having to try and do all this heavy lifting and possibly injuring themselves or possibly killing themselves, for example. They were created for, there was the robotic arm, you know, it was created for heavy things, forklift trucks. You know, I could go on and on and on as to where we've led onto AI today. So this is just like a really a transition from what we had from the old days, for example. But what is quite amazing with AI is because we've put all of this data into the AI, which is like, I mean, the human brain, we can do a lot, but we're not using all of our talents that we have. But with AI, they've got all the data in there, and then it can just, you know, just do it in seconds, for example. So it's a lot quicker than our human brains, for example. And that's the reason why it's such a benefit, because people are seeing how quick it is and how fast it is, how automated it is. It can help with repetitive tasks. That was how it was brought in, for example, and we saw it as a wonderful thing. But now it's actually, some people's jobs are at risk. Some people have lost their jobs, but this has been happening over a number of years, where people have lost their job because something new has come into its place. So therefore that position no longer is relevant. And it's the same with AI. We have to learn how to use the AI in terms of what skills can we do that's going to match us being able to be a specialist in AI. Because AI there's a self-driving car from it. AI is diagnosing diseases better than what the doctors are doing, because it will take them weeks and weeks and lots of, you know, looking at books and just going through things and really scrutinizing things, and then sometimes their eyes are so tired that, you know, it takes time. Whereas they're assisting doctors with diagnosis quickly and fast. So it is better for those that are needing operations or diagnosis quickly, because years ago, maybe even still from last year, for example, it would take sometimes months before you were diagnosed with something. And that could be life and death, you know. And to me, having experienced the long wait on multiple occasions with family members that had cancer, for example, and it took like 3-4 months, which could have really have helped with the treatment, could have been done a lot sooner, for example. So I'm looking at this also as a positive, as well as there's the negative side. So let me break it down. for you, for example. Okay, now AI, it will create jobs. I believe it will create jobs more than what it will destroy jobs. But it depends on you and what type of training and qualification that you're prepared to do in order to have a job to do with AI, for example. So I'm just going to go through some of the job risk here and just move my fan over slightly. And I want you to think about this, because this is a study. According to a study, this is 47% of the jobs in the US are at risk of automation. That's quite a high percentage. Elon Musk talked about this, where he said he feels that there's going to be a lot of people out of work because they won't know how to progress. So there's got to be, he mentioned, he said, some sort of universal credit, some sort of, where people are being paid that can't work anymore because their job is obsolete and they don't know how to replace it. And I'm going to say some of the things here as well. And it's not just factory workers. You notice factories have been closing down, haven't you? Over the years. There's not many factories like how it used to be. Same with, it's going to affect, I believe, from what I've heard and what I've listened to with Elon Musk, as well as others as well, drivers, teachers, even lawyers can be replaced. However, I'm sure that they've got to keep some. They can't just have no one in there. So it's going to be a reduced workforce if you don't find out how you can use AI so that it's going to benefit you in your job, for example. Now, it seems scary, doesn't it, about what I'm saying to you, but I'm just being, from what I'm reading, I'm just looking and talking to you about it. There's the benefits, like there is to all things, and there's also the negative side of things. But this is the reason why I'm talking about what I'm talking about today, to try and make us be aware, more aware, that we need to look at what it is that we're doing as a job, for example, and how can we become part of this automation and part of this AI in the workforce, for example. So AI, like I said, it is improving life. They've got these robots that are like surgeons. Personalized education. There's also sustainable farming, so it helps the farmers, I believe. I'm not a farmer, so I can't really say much. I'm just going by from what I've read. So if you are a farmer or you know of a farmer and that's not the case, then please, I'm always here to listen to any questions and things that you know, for example. But like I said, it's not all doom and gloom. AI has the potential to solve problems that humans could only dream of. And it's already saving lives, predicting natural disasters apparently, and it's creating art from what I can gather. So could AI be our greatest ally instead of our competition? What do you think about AI? Could that make a difference in your life, for example? So imagine that we are looking at being relevant, staying relevant, and we've got to keep adapting our skills, like being very creative. We've got to have emotional intelligence, which we do. We're humans, and problem solving will always be in demand. That is the key for you, is that you've got to have the creativity, the emotional intelligence, and the problem solving will always be in demand. And guess what? You have the power to learn and grow. Look, I use AI and it's not always right. So I have to say, no, that's not correct. It is blah, blah, and it will say, oh, sorry. So it's what you put in to it as well. But you have to be careful that you can't just take what it says as granted. You've also got to do your part as well and check to make sure it is correct, because it will go off on a tangent. So although it is really good right now, there's still some fine-tuning to be done. So if you've got any comments, you can drop them in the chat as well regarding the AI. So let's look at this. AI is here. It's not going away. And we can also look at what we can do to help our lives with AI. We work with it because healthcare is increasing. It's increasing and it is not decreasing. So, you know, by 2030, it's increasing by, I believe, by 35%. Care is, from this data that I'm reading here, 36% by, well, this year. So we haven't even got to 2030 yet. So what is care going to be like in 2030? It is growing huge. And this is global that I'm referring to. This is a global data. And the annual growth rate is expected to hit 36% this year. And this is according to McKinsey and Company report. Okay, so I'm not talking from, you know, I do my research when I talk to you. And despite having vast amounts of data, healthcare has been slower than other sectors in adapting to digital technologies, particularly artificial intelligence, because they've got to think about the issue of GDPR and the legalities. But according to McKinsey, for example, the data is often scattered across multiple systems, making it difficult for it to be fully utilized. So whilst healthcare has used some of this structured data for AI, it still has limited success with unstructured sources such as call transcripts. And this is according to the report of McKinsey and Company. They are a consulting firm, worldwide, global. And the recent developments in the generative AI are making it possible to harness previously unusable data, allowing a broader AI to learn behavioral patterns for customization. So just think about where we started in the beginning, where we were doing things the hard way, and then we started to make things easier. You know, we made things easier for ourselves, and now we're at this time in the future, for example, here and now, the AI is here because we created it. This is what majority of people wanted, things that was going to make life easier for them. A lot of people didn't want this. I was sort of like, oh, I'm not sure about this. And I'll give you an example. It is in the hospitals right now. When my twin brother was ill in America, he was in Disney, and he got rushed to hospital, and there was a robot there having a conversation, for example. And then he got transferred to the Michigan hospital, because that's where he lived, in Michigan. And again, there was a robot in his room. And it was a monitor more than... It was a robot, but it was still like someone was monitoring the robots that were in patients' rooms on the ward, for example, so that they would have a big screen, and then it would have all the rooms that were visible. So this robot had full vision, 360, apart from the toilets, that, there was privacy there, for example. But, if it's used in a good way, that's going to help relieve the staff, for example. But if it's going to be used in replacement of the staff, I'm not sure whether that's going to be a good thing, because when I was in the States, this was in a Michigan hospital, for example, there was the robots were there, for example, and there was 1 or 2 staff members on the floor, for example. So they were seeing to everyone, and the robots that were in the room was there for if someone was at risk of falling, or they were very, very sick, for example, and they needed to keep record of their temperature, etc., oxygen levels. So that is a good thing, because that way the nurses and the healthcare workers can do other things that's really important as well, for example. I mean, that's important, don't get me wrong, but it just made it more simpler. However, they were understaffed. So to me, looking at that model, it didn't work, because the robot isn't allowed to do personal care. But now they're going to be releasing robots that is going to be going worldwide. For example, and I read about this yesterday, where they are going to be in a lot of the industries, including healthcare, and that could possibly include, with people's permission, to have personal care done. Things like shaving, the things that can be done without, I believe, the privacy, because there's all of this that has to be... I believe it hasn't gone into healthcare yet because of the privacy and the dignity and the respect and the policies that we have, for example. So there's a lot of work that's been being done, and almost, has been completed, for example. So like I said, there's doctors working with robots in the hospital to diagnose diseases a lot quicker. I can see the benefits as well, but I can also see that there could be some positions that could be, that will be lost. So you have to look at what position that you have, and then look at what you can do that is AI related, for example, to keep you, up to date, for example, because this is an evolution for us. We're transforming into this, where we've got to be using AI and what it's going to do for our lives. So what is that going to be? Things that aren't going to be the same as how it was 10 years ago, for example. So what is the difference going to be for us? We're still going through that right now. So I just wanted to mention that to you because it is advancing at lightning speed, and it's got the ability to help optimize healthcare. And this is the thing with AI, is that it can and will optimize healthcare. And I want to know what your thoughts are, because we've got to look at collaborating with AI as well as the robots that are now, in our environment, for example. There's events going on all the time, robotic events, where there's even pets which are helping the vulnerable adults, for example, with dementia. I saw this lovely pet, and they've got different personalities. You remember years ago, and I remember when I got for my children, I brought them these robot dogs, that sat up and pretended to bark and, move kind of thing. And they would sit, and you'd have to train it. You'd have this bone, this plastic bone, and you would train it, for example. So, but now they've got these dogs which are for vulnerable adults, for example, and they feel like really fluffy, like a dog would, for example. They have the dog expressions. They can bark, they can be quiet, they have different personalities. There's lots of different things robotic that's come in to our lives, and the robots are being released to go into factories. And we've all seen Will Smith. There was I, Robot, I believe it was. That movie was amazing. But yeah, it's true. All these movies, sci-fi movies or whatever, with, robots, it's happening here and now. And it's something that we have to look at and take it on board, and to think, okay, what am I going to do so that I keep ahead of the time? Because eventually, if you're not careful, you could be let go because the robot or the AI is doing the work of 3 people, for example. So I don't know how that's going to pan out. For example, if a lot of people lose their jobs. And I don't mean this to be a pessimistic type of video. I just want to be real and say to you all that we need to look at how we can work with AI. How can we work with AI? How can AI be our friend, for example? How can you make it work for you in your business or maybe in your workplace? So what skills can you learn that's going to get AI to do what you have instructed it to do, and you've got that qualification? So AI is not just, a chat GTP, for example. It's more than that. It's the robots. There's all different levels that we've got to think about. Look, we're using it when people are doing faceless channels, for example. AI is doing that. You're pressing that button, for example, so you're learning how to use it. So how can you learn how to use it for your workplace so that it keeps you in your job, for example? Or if you want to upgrade yourself, what training can you get to learn AI? in the workplace, because we got to look at how that's going to fit in, because otherwise these jobs that come up, these vacancies that come up, it will be AI and it will be humans need not apply, because it's not for humans, the position is for AI. But they're going to need someone to operate the AI, because although it can work by itself, you've still got to put the data in. It's got to have the data, and then you can then let it work its skill, for example. So I just thought I'd drop this video in and to just give you an update about AI. And you know, it can do so much. It can really do so much. It's just that we need to be able to work with it so that we are not left behind. Because I don't want you to be left behind. I want you to be ahead of the game. Just like how you're creating videos, faceless videos, you're creating videos, you can do things in bulk. There's lots of things that we're doing that is helping us to be faster, rather than like how we used to do things in the old days, for example. And when I say the old days, I'll say years ago. I don't mean like 1900s, but 1900s, there's been a transformation from 1900s to 1930, and then 30 to 60, and then 60 to, you know, and we're now, look at us, we're in 2025, for example. So there's been a big transition, and we're in this new world, for example, of AI, and it's become the natural, the norm. Look, Amazon, all of them are using AI. When you have a delivery, it's going to be, for example, some drones, for example, or even when it's a food delivery, it could be a AI electric car, for example. There's lots of ways that these things are going to be used. And like I said, what we've got to do is we've got to plan and prepare so that we can have a job to operate the AI. Like for me, I'm getting my meeting with my VAs next week, and we're going to talk about the software that I've got so that that can be implemented ASAP, for example. You know, it's not about replacing. I've you know, obviously I've let some people go because I don't need to have so many contractors, because they're self-employed contractors. So, and with me taking on these coaches, for example, these independent coaches, it will be their own business and they'll be the ones doing the work, for example. And yes, they can use our VAs, for example, but we got to look at how we can train the team to use the AI, rather than, because I always remember when we would introduce a software, people would be like, oh, another one, oh, how am I going to use this? Then we'd do the training, the person would come and do the training for the week, and then, you know, sometimes they'd be like, oh, let's hope that they forget about it, but we don't. If you're not using what we've given you, then there's something wrong with you. Why are you not using it? Do you need more training? Because they're doing it because they don't want you to get left behind, and they don't want to have to let you go either. But if you're not doing the job or working with the AI, you could lose your job. So I just want everybody, business owners as well as your team members, to be working together for the goal of the company, for example. So let me know what your thoughts are in the comments, whether you've, you know, transitioned and you become an AI technician, or what job title now have you gone on to from where you was, because there's a lot of changes happening right now, especially this year 2025. So like I said, things have changed, just like how people are working from home more. That's become the norm, whereas before it wasn't the normal. People were in the office, but now offices are getting emptier and emptier. Same with the stores. Retail stores, they're becoming empty because people are online, and that's a sign of AI as well. So I hope that this was helpful for you, and that you've learnt and thought about what AI is for you in your position of what you're currently doing, because you really need to really get yourself trained with the AI so that you know how to use it. And your business, for those of you that are business owners, it will grow your business quickly, and that's what you want. You want to have, it will give you more, it's meant to give you more time, it's meant to give you more freedom, it's meant to give people a better outcome. I could go on and on, for example, about what the benefits are of using AI, for example, in your workplace. So thank you so much. The next video, which I'm going to do tomorrow, is going to be about AI, and I'm going to be talking about what industries they're going to be. When I talk about, tomorrow's video will be about robotics. So I'm going to be talking about robotics, AI in healthcare, because it is a big thing that is happening. Look, I saw it in America several times, for example. And America's always ahead of the UK, for example. And it's happening. They're starting to release the robots, for example, because they've been trained. So tomorrow I'm going to be doing a video about robots, AI, for example. And I hope you'll be able to join me as well. I'll do my live as well at 9 p.m. And, I do believe that this is going to be a good opportunity for us. If we plan it right and we know what it is that we want and what we want to work with, who we, what job title, because job titles are changing as well. So things have moved on, and we've got to move with the times. We can't hold on to the past. We've got to move forward. So where do you see yourself in, the next year, for example, with AI? Maybe you're working with AI already at the hospital, or in a healthcare setting, or in a construction setting, or in a car factory setting, for example. Where are you in this with the AI and the robotics? Have you seen them? I've seen 3 in healthcare, in the hospitals. I've seen 3. How many have you seen robots in the hospital, for example? So, thank you so much, everyone. If you want to click the link, I'll put the description here as well. There's the information about the video about humans need not apply. This was from 10 years ago. So this person, this organization, I've put the link there as well. They were discussing it from 10 years ago. And we're here. Look at us. It's like how we watch Star Wars, isn't it? We watch all these programs, and there's robots, there's AI, there's artificial intelligence, and we don't really think about it being so strong as what it's going to be and what it is now. So it's time for us to start really taking it on board and working with it, not against it, because it's here now, so we can't really fight it either. And we've been using it for a long time. And if it's going to help people to be diagnosed quicker, and I believe that is a good thing as well. All right, so thank you so much, everyone. Hope you're having a wonderful day, and do like and subscribe to the channel if you found this informative today, and let me know what your comments are regarding AI and robotics in the workplace. I'd love to hear your thought processes on it, and I can talk about it tomorrow in the live if you've got some questions regarding AI and robotics, for example. All right, so thank you so much. Have a wonderful day, everyone. Take care. Thank you. Bye.